I've always been an athlete. And in that capacity, I've been part of some winning teams, like championship level teams, and I've been part of some really awful losing teams. And there's a huge difference between the two. Obviously, there's a talent difference, an athleticism difference, but the biggest difference that I've noticed is one of psychology. In fact, I would go so far as to say that I could watch a team before and after their practices, before and after their games, or I could watch the sideline only during a game, and just from that, I could tell you whether it's a winning or losing team without even knowing what's going on the field, without ever actually seeing, a soccer player kick a ball or a basketball player take a shot. Right? Because most of winning in the long term comes down to psychology, process, preparation, attitude, that sort of stuff, more so than technique and athleticism, because technique and athleticism are an outgrowth of all of that. So what I want to do right now is I want to outline the characteristics of what is a successful team, what is an unsuccessful team, and where that distinction lies. All right? And the biggest thing, actually I'll start with a quote I heard. There's a guy named Percy Cerruti. He was a running coach. And he coached world champions in many different distances over years and years and years. And he said that when someone came to his training camp, he could tell the first hour whether that person was going to be a world champion. And here's how. If the guy came and he was worried about like the conditions of the running surface or what shoes he was going to get or like, what the condition of the mess hall was, that kind of stuff, those guys, or how popular he was and getting to know everybody in the training camp, those type of guys never really made it. The guy who made it, the guy who was a champion, was the guy who came in, didn't care what bunk he got, set his stuff down, walked right up to the coach and said, when do we start training, right? When do we start training? Because they're there for the training itself. They're there for the process. They're there for the pain. They're there for the suffering. Similar experience I had when I was running track in high school. There's this one guy, he was like the standout athlete on the team. He'd score more points than everybody, every meet. Everybody thought he was this gifted natural athlete, which he was. But there's one moment interacting with him that really stood out for me. We were doing a particularly egregious wind sprint exercise, like the type that like every muscle aches, you feel like you're going to puke constantly. It's just like pure torture and pain. And at the time, this guy was like a junior, I think. And one of the younger kids that was really suffering from this was like, man, how many of these do we have to do? The guy looked him straight in the face and said, you can quit now. Feel totally free to be mediocre. That's up to you, right? It wasn't like, he basically said, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You should want to do this. You should desire to do this, okay? It's a privilege for you to train. It's not a punishment to train. It's not a punishment to suffer. It's a privilege. It's what you look forward to. Fast forward to college. I was on a college soccer team that was national championship caliber. And then I transferred and I was on another one that was like hoping to break even. On the national championship caliber team, there was this great thing established. There was actually a culture around the team. Okay, practice started at a certain time, but every single player on the team showed up 45 to 30 minutes early for practice and did a specific array of drills that the coach had given us. And they showed up on their own dime. They weren't required to be there. Everybody showed up. Everybody did the drill. And the reason was they wanted to play. And the coach wasn't watching. The coach didn't know who trained or didn't, but they knew if they didn't perform, if they didn't show up, they wouldn't get to play. Right? And so every single person showed up. And the coach's phrase for it, which was what I really want to refer to here, he said, it's not demanded of you, it's commanded of you. Meaning the situation commands it. I'm not demanding anything, but it's commanded by circumstance that if you want to play, if you want to stand out, you'd better step up, right? And the other thing that I really liked on this coach that he did was right after the tryouts, right after we made the team, he set us all down and he basically said, look around you. Everybody here is good players. Congratulate yourself. Now I'm going to tell you right now, the person that's going to play is not the best player. You're all good players, right? Everyone here could play. But who's going to play is the person who's going to contribute the most to the team and make us win. That's it. So it's not about being good. It's about being effective. All right? It's not about looking good. It's about deciding to win and doing what's necessary to make that happen. All right? So what he's putting out here is this philosophy of no excuses. All right? We're about results here. We're about fucking results. Okay? Now let me talk a little bit about some of the teams I was on that didn't do so well. I was on a soccer team in like middle school that was just terrible. We're in a low division and lost almost every single game. It was really, really a harrowing experience. And being at these practices was even worse for me because I would go to the practice and I wanted to play soccer. I wanted to get better. I wanted to fucking push myself. And the other kids on the team wanted to gossip about like, what girl was in their class and stuff like, which I'm all for, obviously. I'm all for hot girls. But like, I'm there to fucking play soccer. I don't want to hear about who has a crush on who when I'm busy playing soccer, when I'm busy trying to improve myself, when I'm busy trying to like make the most, right? And another great example was every single game they lost, both the players and worse yet, the coach was complaining about the referee. Every single game they made the excuse that they got fucked over by the referee. And they're yelling during the game at the referee, that kind of stuff. You know what happened on the good teams when the referee was calling a bad game against us? At the side of the field, we'd decide, like, okay, we better play extra good today. We can't let him take this from us. That motherfucking referee, we're gonna make sure that there's no chance he can ruin it for us. Instead of being like, oh fuck, the referee's against us, we may as well give in. We may as well complain about it. And that's another thing. Every single team I've ever been on that's complained, made excuses, always lost. Another one that I had in terms of with this team and with other losing teams that I've been on, these are all youth teams, right? So there's always the players and then there's the parents. Anytime the parents are complaining to the coach about playing time, the team was a losing team, 100%. Okay, because anytime that they're saying, my kid should be playing or it should be equal, what they're doing is the opposite of what my college coach did, right? They're demanding playing time instead of making sure that their performances command it of the coach to play them, all right? You don't demand out of entitlement. You don't say like, I deserve fair treatment. What you do is you stand out to the point that nobody can possibly overlook it. Okay, if you want to get playing time, what do? You don't go to the coach and say, coach, give me playing time. What you do is you stunt on everybody in practice. And you come a half hour early, you stay a half hour late, you hit the weight room, you ask the coach for extra training, you ask him what he wants you to work on. You don't say, coach, give me more playing time. You say, coach, I want to be better. Tell me what to work on in my extra hours. Okay? You don't demand it, you command it. Same thing in business. If you want raises, yeah, asking for it's big. Asking for the order in any area is big. But you know what you should do before you ask and what you can do that's even more important than asking? Take on more responsibilities. Do a better job of your job. Don't ask, how can I get paid more? Ask, how can I do more? How can I contribute more? And what you do is you make yourself indispensable. You create a situation where within the team can't function without you because you're doing so many positive, amazing things that they can't even imagine who would possibly replace you. They think to themselves, oh my God, if we had to replace him, we'd have to get 5 people to replace this one guy. Damn it, I better give him a raise. They should be scared. They should be scared of losing you. Not like you shouldn't be going there hoping you get a raise, okay? Again, it's not about demanding, it's about commanding. That's it, all right? You need to think of everything in life as an exchange of value. Okay, it's an exchange of value. Don't try and con and trick your way to success. Don't try and set up you have a bad deal with someone and expect them to just live with it. Instead, make sure you're providing so much value that you are fucking indispensable. Okay, that's how you operate, right? If you're providing value, you can be a dick and get away with it. If you're providing value, you can be abrasive and get away with it. If you're providing value overall, you can get away with a lot of mistakes because your overall package is so good. If you're just trying to manipulate perception, or a lot of people, they go to work and they're basically just trying to look busy and they don't achieve anything, they might achieve not getting fired, but those people are never getting promoted. They're stuck in fucking dead-end jobs for the rest of their lives, all right? It's about stepping up, it's about commanding it, and it's a decision. It's the same decision that guy was making on the track when he said, look, you can stop right now. You're perfectly free to be mediocre. You're perfectly free to be mediocre. Feel free. If you want to be mediocre, go do it. Just don't fucking complain to me because you did it to yourself. Okay? If you want to step up, make that decision and find a way. And again, it's not about asking for permission or asking for a favor. It's about doing the right thing to make anyone who doesn't give it to you retarded. And you know what? Say in the work context, if you do that work to make yourself indispensable, make yourself the absolute best, and your boss doesn't give you a raise, you know what you do? You go to a competing company and you outclass them there, all right? Because if you truly are offering value, there will be a market for you. In an athletic context, if you truly are stepping up in practice, you will get your game time. You shouldn't go to the coach and ask for game time. You might ask him how to get better. You might step up and do more practice. You shouldn't be asking for game time. Again, you're commanding it. Don't demand it, command it, okay? Finally, the big thing is embracing the suffering, which is sort of like demand and command, right? Because if you're commanding it and you realize the beauty in what you're doing, you will embrace your suffering, right? If you're going to the gym and you know it's the right thing, you should be enjoying the gym, right? You should come out of there and when your muscles hurt, you should feel good about them. Like, oh, god damn, I gotta go work out today, yeah, right? You should be happy about that. Not, oh God, I hurt so much, this is so bad. No, I'm growing right now. I'm improving as a person. All right, I'll tell you the absolute most formative sports experience I ever had in my entire life. For most of my life, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. So I went to this academy in Bolivia. It's called Tawichi Soccer Academy. And it basically, it is a breeding ground for future professional soccer players. And they're fucking harsh, okay? They are harsh. Example, one of the drills they make you do, they're huge on fitness. So you run 3 miles on soft sand where your feet sink in and every step aches out to the top of a sand dune. And then you get there, and the coach is like, okay, who got here fast? And you're thinking to yourself, good, I got here fast, I'll be rewarded. Like the guys who are slow, they'll get punished, right? And they're like, okay, cool, those of you who got here fast, bottom of the hill. And they make you run 10 wind sprints. Like, you guys are the fittest ones, you guys are stepping up. Here's your opportunity. Here's your permission to train even harder. Here's your permission to suffer more because you stood out. And that, in that context, made sense. In that context, that was actually like, it made you get it. You're like, fuck yeah. Training is not a punishment. Like all these sports teams I was on as a kid where like at the end of training, at the end of practice, you run and everyone's like, oh God, we have to run now. No, running is a privilege. Training is a privilege. Working out in the weight room is a privilege. Being able to practice is a privilege. In game, going out is a privilege. It's not, oh God, I got to drag myself down. No, you get to go out and you get to talk to hot girls. You get to practice and get better and grow as a person. That's a fucking privilege. You're one of the luckiest 1% of people on the planet that you get to step up. You get to get rejected. That's a privilege. You get to get new information about yourself and you get to grow and develop emotional calluses. That's a fucking privilege. You're a lucky motherfucker that you have the time and resources to be able to do that. And if you take on that mentality and you say, you know what? I don't care if this girl rejects me. My job, I'm not demanding her to like me. I'm commanding it by being a fucking amazing man. My job is not to get her to like me. My job is to be so phenomenal that she's the world's biggest idiot if she doesn't. If she doesn't, she doesn't. Who the fuck cares? I'm not demanding it. I am commanding it. Okay, that's your philosophy in life. Your philosophy in life is this: earn it. Don't demand it, command it, earn it, and embrace the fucking suffering and challenge. It's your privilege. It's your privilege to be part of it. It's your privilege to do it. All right? If you are lucky enough to have the time, resources, ability to go to a good club and hit on hot girls, you are in the top few percentage of men in the world. Okay, you're fucking lucky to have the luxury time, the freedom, living in a Western society where that's even allowed. You are so fucking lucky to be able to do that. Enjoy it, embrace that privilege. And you're so lucky to be in a situation where you can learn and grow over years and assure yourself through process of getting the hottest girls. And you have on top of it all these resources, all this information, all this infield, all this coaching, exactly how to get better. You have no fucking excuse. You're so lucky. You're so fucking lucky. All right, when I started in game, there wasn't this material. I mean, there was a tiny little shred and most of it sucked. You know what? I went out, I made a pledge to myself, and I said, you know what? There is no hot girl on my campus that goes unapproached. Period. Period. And I stuck to that so much so that after 2 years, I talked to every hot girl at my school, and I transferred schools to another school to get more girls. Okay, I made that commitment. I had fewer resources than you had. I had less opportunity. I was coming from a pretty bad place in a lot of ways. But you know what I did? I said, you know what? I'm not making an excuse. I'm not demanding that it work out for me. I'm not trying to hope and pray that she likes me. No, I'm commanding it. I'm saying what one man can do, another can do. I believe in myself. I'm going to step up and I figure this fucking thing out and I'm going to make it happen. All right? Don't demand it, command it.